I'm gonna keep getting my money. They're paying me to be here. You paid to be here. I'm gonna stop talking to you because he's trying to get you to leave. Bye, baby. Bye. We'll see you. We'll see you. My God, here you go. You can't take some people nowhere. But at least I ain't gotta worry about thinking about material now.
How this exchange between this cruiser and this comedian turned violent, and the comedian ended up losing his job. Hey everybody, if you are new here, make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all things theme park, cruise, and travel. And if you're a returning viewer, make sure you click that notification bell so you never miss a video. Now, let's get into today's story. So apparently this cruiser was already upset about an incident that happened earlier in the cruise. There was a physical altercation. I'm hearing it was a fist fight actually on board. I don't think she was involved. Later in the night, she decides to go to the comedy club, and of course the comedian on board the ship, they do roam around the ship, they do interact with guests, heard about this altercation and decided to make it a part of his set. Because of this, the cruiser in the video and the comedian ended up having a heated exchange that ended up turning violent. We do have a video we're going to watch, and we even have a statement from the comedian giving his side of the story. But first, let's take a look at this video so you can get caught up on what's happening with the story.
I'm gonna keep getting my money. They're paying me to be here. You paid to be here. I'm gonna stop talking to you because he's trying to get you to leave. Why are you angry with me? I was going to speak. Bye, baby. Bye. We'll see you. We'll see you. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Oh my God, here we go. I came on vacation once. If y'all want to spend and being disruptive, I'm going to tell you that. Pull on her! Pull on her! Because you got a big old ass. You think people scared of you, you better take that stuff on the line. Slow motion, baby. They're going to charge you for that. When you try to get off the boat, you do your little part, it's going to be $50 worth of glass. Shit, your dumb ass bro. Fuck out of here, man. You a helper. I was trying to do it, baby, but you don't understand. I'm from a really bad neighborhood. I know I don't let the food pay for you. Bitch, I'm gonna hit you in the head to the mic. That's what I was gonna do. But I wasn't gonna be. Oh my God, here you go. You can't take some people nowhere. You can't take some people nowhere. But at least I ain't got to worry about thinking about material now. We gonna talk about shit you need, baby. We gonna talk about your ass now. We gonna put your ass about it. You probably ain't that built by Black and Decker. Sorry, y'all. This ain't my main way to act. I was real good. I just got this job. I'm trying not to get fired, sir. You know what I'm saying? So when you fill out your card, say he was cool, that lady just walked up on him, and he had no other thing to do. But I want y'all to take close notice that I took the mic.
This altercation happened on the MSC Seashore earlier in August. This ship is currently sailing out of Port Canaveral over to the Caribbean. As you can see, the altercation just kind of keeps going. The cruiser does actually start to leave the theater, but she turns around and continues to engage with the comedian, who, yes, is making fun of the situation, like comedians tend to do. You can hear the lady in the video saying that she's going to throw her shoe at him, and eventually did allegedly end up throwing a glass at the comedian. So the reason why I wanted to cover this story is because it has sparked a lot of controversy online. A lot of people say, yes, what she did was wrong, but she was provoked by the comedian. So this is where I want to turn the conversation over to you. Do you think that the cruiser was justified in taking the altercation violent, or should she have handled it another way? Although it's really hard to say what you would do in a situation until you were in that situation, what you have to remember about comedy shows, especially adult comedy shows on a cruise ship, is if you bring attention to yourself either at the comedy show or on board the ship, the comedian is likely going to find out about it, and they are likely going to put that into their set. Have you ever been to a comedy show before and you had to get up to go to the bathroom and you became the center of attention? You became a part of the show, right? It's just something that is expected. If you have been on more than one cruise ship, you know that you don't get up, you know you don't show up late unless you want to be a part of the show. Now, I'm not saying that this cruiser volunteered to be a part of the show. I think it was pretty obvious in the video that she did not want attention on the situation. However, that's just a part of being out in the public space. If something happens, especially on a cruise ship, and you think the comedian on board is not going to talk about it, cruising is probably not the space that you need to be in. Some people are saying that the comedian provoked the incident, and yes, I do think that he continued a little longer than he should with her being his focus or his center of attention. In my opinion, the comedian should have de-escalated the situation once he saw how she was reacting. The yelling and the cussing. She was obviously upset about the situation, and although he is not responsible for her outbursts, he could have taken it a different way. Apparently, one of the things that the comedian allegedly said, which kind of made this cruiser upset, was the fact that he was talking about black people fighting on cruise ships or just fighting in general, and she made it a point to correct him that the fight itself didn't actually involve any black people. You do hear in the video where he goes on to make comments about her body, and this could be what set the cruiser over the edge, and the verbal altercation at this point did become violent. Like I said, she did throw a glass cup at him. Thankfully, she did miss and he was not injured. So that's why I want to put this conversation back on you guys and get your opinion. This cruiser did not like what the comedian had to say, but wanted to make sure that he knew that that wasn't the truth as to what happened with this fight that happened on the cruise. That's why I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think it's cut and dry that the cruiser is right, or it's cut and dry and the comedian is right? I just don't think it's as simple as that. I understand both perspectives, and I'm kind of torn in the middle. I don't think that the cruiser should have taken it violent. That is never the way to handle any situation. But at the same time, the comedian should have been able to tell that this was escalating very quickly, as you can see in the video. And as a professional, like I said earlier, could have taken this a different way. Make sure you let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this? It has recently been confirmed that the comedian on board the ship is Robert L. Hines from Chicago, Illinois. Now, Robert did confirm that the cruiser on board the ship that he had the altercation with was met by authorities at the next port of call, which happened to be MSC's private island in the Bahamas, Ocean Cay. We don't know what happened with that interaction, if she is under investigation, if she was arrested, or if nothing came of it at all. This story is still developing, so make sure you ring that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Now, as far as Robert L. Hines, the comedian, he was actually suspended until further notice. A suspension, in my opinion, seems pretty harsh. Suspensions can be indefinite, meaning he may never be able to work on an MSC ship, or it may even be hard for him to get work on other ships in the future. It really just makes me wonder, what exactly was the cause for the suspension? What policy or procedure or best practice did he break or not follow in order to receive such a harsh punishment for his involvement in the altercation? And this is another reason why I'm kind of torn in my opinion of this story. Sure, if he was unprofessional and didn't de-escalate the situation, which is probably something in the contract that you're supposed to do if you see something is getting out of hand. But a suspension seems very harsh. And a suspension that is indefinite seems even harsher. Comedians are classified on cruise ships as guest entertainment. So they can either have an agent that works primarily with them solely to get them bookings on cruise ships, or they could potentially work for a big agency who has a pool of entertainers waiting to get their next opportunity on a cruise ship. So that leaves me to really think, if this comedian, who honestly I've never heard of him before, if he doesn't have a name for himself or know the right people or has set that strong foundation in the cruise ship industry, it may be very hard for him to book another contract on another cruise ship. Which basically means that this comedian is out of a job because of this situation on the MSC seashore. It's really going to come down to whatever the protocol was that he broke in order to validate a suspension for his actions, and I think that's going to have a big impact on his career. I think our biggest takeaway from this story is, if you are working in entertainment on cruise ships, at resorts, at theme parks, make sure you know your contract forward and backwards. One thing I used to do when I worked in the corporate world was always learn my policies and procedures. I wanted to be able to speak to policy and procedure better than anyone in my department. Because of that, I was able to speak to a policy and procedure at any given time. So if you're an entertainer, you work in any form of entertainment, anything with a contract, make sure you read that contract forward and backwards. You need to make sure you do whatever you need to do to make sure that you understand the repercussions of your actions as a professional in the entertainment industry. That's going to be it for today's story. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you want to stay up to date on all things theme park, cruise, and travel, please consider subscribing with that notification bell on. Until next time,